Welcome to the No No Show, episode 6. Today I'm interviewing the lovable Nic Novicki. Let's get the show on the road, everyone. Hi, Nick. I'm so happy that you're here. I really appreciate that a lot.
I appreciate you having me.
You're welcome. So I want to start with the first question that I thought about first. I wanted you to be on my show because we both share a mission of ensuring people with disabilities are represented in the media in front and behind the camera. How are you advising that mission, like going up about it?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. It is such an honor to be here. And, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Nic Novicki. I am a little person. I got a little bit of scruff on my face. I am wearing a shirt with a rainbow colored, and I'm an actor, comedian, producer. But as a little person, I've been very lucky in my career. I've been in over 50 TV shows and movies. I've gotten the chance to work with Martin Scorsese and the Farley brothers. But ultimately, the majority of my work has been to help other people with disabilities take their career in their own hands through the work that I'm doing with the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. That really stemmed from me producing a lot of my own content, which led to work for me as an actor. And I wanted to help other people, just like what you're doing and spotlighting people with disabilities. So it's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Do you like being an actor in Hollywood?
Yeah, I like it. I definitely do. Right now there's an actor strike going on with the Screen Actors Guild. So it's been interesting times. But as I said, I've been so fortunate in my career in how many jobs I've had. For any actor, whether you have a disability or you don't, I advise you to do as much as you can on your own. But just as the question asked me, do I like it? You have to love it. Otherwise, there are other jobs out there
for you to handle.
Okay.
How does comedy in your life help others? And how did you become a comedian and help with representation, not just in Hollywood, but around the world in general?
Sure. So believe it or not, it kind of feels like I've been doing stand-up comedy my whole life. As a little kid, I used to do speeches for Little People of America, and I would always open with a joke. I'd always talk about, hey, they got a podium, but where's the stool? So I would do these kind of jokes, and ultimately, it led to opportunities for me, to do more speaking engagements. And then when I was in college, I started doing stand-up comedy, and it wasn't something that I'd wanted to do all my life. Honestly, I just kind of fell into it. I was walking by a comedy club and somebody said, hey, do you want to try doing comedy? And I did. I started getting paid opportunities as a teenager. So now I've been doing stand-up for over 20 years. I've performed on 6 continents for the troops all over the world. And actually, I got into comedy before I got into acting. So in a lot of ways, that also helped me get opportunities as an actor and get opportunities in front of the camera. But really, it's its own career and its own, really profession in stand-up comedy. And it's one that I just love. I love being in front of a crowd and talking and telling stories.
How do you feel about the actor strike? Did it impact your work? Why was it necessary to have it in the first place?
Sure. So I've been a proud SAG-AFTRA member for 20 years. And, it's allowed me to have insurance as a professional actor. I have a pension. It protects you and helps provide opportunities and really a safe haven for actors. So I'm very proud of the Screen Actors Guild. There have been a lot of changes in the industry. And over the years, models of financing and the way actors get paid have changed. And so this was a very important move that was done through the Screen Actors Guild and the leadership there. So I am in full support of the Screen Actors Guild, and I'm a proud member. And although we are sponsored by many studios and networks and great people, I have been a Screen Actors Guild member for many years, and I know that there will be a resolution coming soon. But it certainly has been a hard time for a lot of actors and creatives.
How did you how did the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge come about?
Yeah, well, great question. So, as I said, I've been very lucky in my career. I've been in, quite a few TV shows and movies, but I wanted to be the gangster and the romantic lead and all these kind of characters that I wasn't getting opportunities to play through traditional auditions. So I started to produce my own content, short films, web series, and it led to those opportunities for me. So I looked around 11 years ago. I said to myself, why aren't more people with disabilities taking their career in their own hands? So I created the Disability Film Challenge, which is an annual 5-day filmmaking competition where you have to have somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. And then it kept growing year after year. And in 2017, I partnered with Easterseals Southern California. Easterseals is the nation's largest disability services organization. They've been around for 100 years. So now to date, we've had over 600 films created from around the world, and it's created so many opportunities for people with disabilities in front of and behind the camera.
That's amazing. Can you announce any dates or themes for the 2024 Disability Film Challenge if you can or cannot?
You almost got me. You're such a charming host, and I almost
Thank
gave
you.
I almost gave away the secret. No, so just kidding. It is no secret. So basically, every year we kick off our season when we open up registration and we announce the dates for the new challenge. So for 2024, we're still working on all the details, including what the dates will be. That'll be announced in January. Typically, we announce live from the Sundance Film Festival at the end of January. But following our typical calendar, the challenge is usually the first weekend in April. And if you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com, you could learn about what the film challenge is, how you register. And if you hit the challenge tab, you could see the past 10 assignments. Every year, there's a different genre, there's themes and props that have to be incorporated.
So I'm gonna do some fun questions now, make it us a little bit silly because we both like to have some fun activities together. And I know you're a comedian, and I like comedians, and they make me laugh. So thank you. So the one question I want to do the last one first because that's also a question of ours. Since
Yeah.
this is the no show, I like to ask, what are the big no-nos in our modern society and what's going on in the divided world?
That's a great question. For me, I'm a comedian, so I like to focus on jokes, making people laugh. My style of comedy is really more observational. I talk about my life, my experiences, my family, funny situations I've been involved in. So I try to make it a point not to put myself in no positions. But when I do, I like to tell jokes and stories about it.
Yeah, how about like in the disability community, what is a big
Yeah.
no that you're like everyone is facing, especially you when you're a child or when you're a teenager or like when you're growing up? Any no-nos that you can think of?
Again, it's been my philosophy to focus more on continuing to, follow my goals and live my life and have fun. I try not to focus on scenarios. Whenever people have said stuff about me being a little person
Mm-hmm.
or made jokes or been in awkward situations, my philosophy is always to make a joke, to laugh, and to keep moving forward.
I love that.
So I think for little people in general, a no would be to say the word midget, because that is an offensive word to little people. Some people don't know that. So I let people know that. But just in general, my philosophy is, keep living my life. And I don't let, anybody get in the way of what I want to do or having fun.
That's amazing. If you aren't doing the career you have right now, what other career would you do?
So I went to school for business, and I've always kind of been in some version of sales. And believe it or not, even when to be in a project or a project as a whole, so I probably would be in some form of sales because I have a passion for talking to people.
What is best advice that someone has given you?
The best advice somebody has given me, I find myself getting advice from people all the time. So there's a lot of people I work with that, have been comedians for 50 years, 20 years, 10 years, or they're just the best at what they do. So sometimes it's not so much a piece of advice, it's just following what they do and listening to them and observing them and being inspired by them.
Who has influenced your life?
I got to say, my parents have been a huge influence in kind of shaping my philosophy of not letting situations get me down, whether it's surgery or being in kind of tough scenarios or dealing with pain. So they've been a huge influence on my life, and really so many people have influenced my life: actors, comedians, producers that I've gotten the chance to work with and learn from.
And the last one, I want to, hopefully this is fun, but everything I do is fun with anybody. What is something nobody knows about you?
Somebody, I'm a pretty good ping pong player. I'm not going to throw it out there bragging about it, but I'm willing to throw some bets that I'm not going to lose every ping pong match if we play.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on, and I'm a big fan of your show and what you do. So thank you, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
the amazing message you share.
Thank you so much. Bubba Walters was a broadcast legend who interviewed 50 years worth of stars, celebrities, and world leaders, first seeing them as a human being and individuals. Bubba Walters inspires me for many reasons. One is how she interviewed people, and she inspires me to connect with everyone I meet and love them unconditionally. Barbara was well known all around the world for her journalism style.
What an honor to have questioned every U.S. president and first lady from Richard and Pat to Barack and Michelle. So how do you walk away from glamorous specials with the Toms, Hanks and Cruz, or flirt with Clint Eastwood? Maybe it's my time for him. And pay homage to one-of-a-kind women like Betty Davis and Angelina Jolie.
And has interviewed world leaders and many U.S. presidents. For example, she was the only journalist interviewing former President Richard Nixon. I'll be asking necessary but difficult questions to the politicians I want to make a difference and help ban laws that affect the LGBTQ plus A community, especially transgender rights, and leave people's personal choices about who they love out of politics once and for all. Barbara produced and co-founded The View in 1997, a political show with female hosts. The View inspired me to create The No Show and have a platform where I can ask questions and talk about things no one is comfortable talking about. Barbara Walters also produced a TV special, The 10 Most Fascinating People. I watched Miss Walters interviewing the most well-known people as a young teen, drawing my inspiration from her. I see myself being just like her, as a person who asks essential questions and is well-known worldwide, and only has peace and ending violence around the world She coined the phrase, question everyone wants to know. Barbara and her mom raised her sister, Jacqueline, who had special needs. During an interview, when she talked about her sister, she started tearing up and crying because she loved her so much. I would like to break down barriers and advocate for gay and special needs communities. She was a true trailblazer for all people worldwide, and that inspires me to be just like her. Barbara retired in 2014 and passed away in December of 2022. I want to honor her legacy and interview people by first seeing them as a person and a human. Thank you for inspiring me.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?
Since the start of Ukraine-Russia war and now the Israel-Palestine war, I've been very concerned about what is happening to the refugees who are disabled from the LGBTQ+A community and others not getting the help they need to flee the war zone. They are vulnerable. They can't be left behind. The European Disability Film eliminates that there are at least 2.7 million people with disabilities in Ukraine alone. There are an estimated 10,000 people with disabilities in Gaza. Many disabled refugees are more vulnerable to attacks, while also at a greater risk of abandonment, violence, and discrimination within their own communities. Some of the borders in other countries are close to refugees, like Egypt, because they too have been bombed. There are few organizations who are looking out for disabled refugees, but many have died from being left behind. They are the innocent victims of war. We need your support. Organizations that are doing the good work of protecting the most vulnerable civilians. Social media has a lot of fake information, so you have to be careful and verify the organization you support. Make sure they are legit. You can search charity records on websites like Charity Map, Charity Watch, and Charity Navigator. Some also compile lists of highly rated charities representing to Pacific crisis. I am really sad and frustrated by what is happening. My sister was excited to visit Israel this December for her birthright visit. However, this trip has been canceled by the organization due to safety reasons. I support a ceasefire. Innocent people should not be victims of war that started the leaders. If you can, please help provide aid to refugees in Gaza, Israel, and Ukraine. No matter what side you are on, killing innocent and vulnerable people is never acceptable. Love has the power to change the world. Thank you for watching my No Show and being part of a love revolution. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, follow, hit the notification button, and leave a comment below and like it. Anything is possible with love. See you in January, everyone. Happy New Year.